exposure as well.
Hey, Dave Crete, good to see you here.
Thank you, Ranking Member Takano. Thanks for including me on this this second roundtable. I found the first wildly informative and very helpful to our cause to help us tell people about who we are. I'm the founder and chairman of the Invisible Enemy, and I represent a group of veterans that served at the Nevada Test and Training Range. Has all kinds of there's all kinds of stories about what it is, but it is a location where the Air Force develops its next generation weapon systems. It's an incredible honor to be included in that, to go up to a place like that when you're 18 years old. But going up when you're 18 years old, you don't think about certain things and you don't realize. And I'd really like to touch on a couple of things that Dr. Berry said, because it's very pertinent to our issue. I'd also like to add that when I was here a couple of months ago, we have a memorial list that we've created to track the people that we know of that have passed away. We've added 30 names in that period of time. And almost every time it's cancer. The average age on that list is 65 years old. I'm 60. So it hits home, and we all suffer from something. One of the important things that we suffer from is long-term ionizing radiation exposure. We happen to live in a location that was used for nuclear testing. Last week, the RECA Act was brought back in and extended, which is the downwinders bill, to take care of people that lived 150 and 200 miles away that have cancer clusters because of the exposure that they incurred from the nuclear testing that took place in Nevada. My dormitory was 2.3 miles from a detonation site. It's a little different. What Dr. Berry addressed and what was originally brought up was the delayed impact that happens. When you're 18 years old, you go up range, you don't care what happens when you're 50, that's the old people. Well, now we're beyond the old people. Long-term ionizing radiation exposure isn't the acute exposure that you got from sitting there watching the blast. It's what you got from breathing the air, crawling in the dirt, and drinking the water. And the issues manifest themselves 20 to 30 years later. You mentioned infertility. We have a problem that we brought home, and that was our wives all had miscarriages. Many of the women that I know that worked up range were never able to have children at all. One of the problems that we've experienced on the range when it comes to the environmental impacts and occupational safety is NTTR, Nevada Test and Training Range, operates on an EPA waiver, so there's no accountability. When it comes to the PPE, if you will, and dosimetry, yesterday I was in a meeting at the American Legion, and the question came up about, well, what about your dosimetry? What about the little things that you wore on your uniform? We were not issued those. The people that worked right next door to me at Sandia Laboratories were. We were not. We always used to joke that we must have some pretty amazing fatigues, military grade, can handle anything. When we would have to go out, sometimes we'd have to go outside of our fence line for the area that I worked because there would be an aircraft problem or there would be something else or a threat detected, and we'd have to go out through the desert. We were always told, don't cross the barbed wire fence because the other side of a barbed wire fence is hot. Again, military grade must be different, because they use barbed wire fence to stop something that's 2 microns. To give you an idea what 2 microns is, it takes 25,000 of those to make an inch. And we would breathe that. Our occupational safety officer that we had up range was a fantastic guy, and he did his best, except the military forgot to tell him about the radiation and the contamination that was in our drinking water and that was in our soil, and that we would bring it home. I was the one who told him about that. I'm not a scientist, and I can't tell you exactly what it does. I mean, I'm blessed to sit next to Dr. Barry, who's a very intelligent man and understands this far better than I do. But if a layperson is the one that's telling you, and not your employer, that as you're trying to protect the troops you're there to serve, I shouldn't be the one delivering that message. There's the impact of what this has done so that people can understand. I'm going to give you just one example. I get the calls from the widows. They're terrible phone calls as they tell me what happened to their spouses. There was a program at the base that I worked called Constant Peg. It was rather unique. The first day you show up to work and you see a flight line full of Russian MiG fighter jets. This man, he founded that unit. He died with his cancer, not service-connected. His widow does not receive her DIC benefits. And 100% he died as a result of his time on the range. All of the widows experienced the same thing. Mine will as well. It shouldn't be like that. And the thing I want to add to Congressman Takano, as I've gone through this process, again, as a layperson, I've learned so much about what the VA committee can do. And our first bill that we've had introduced was to address the VA and how we can get our service connection for things like left brain atrophy, where the left side of my brain is dying. My brain cyst that I have, the 20 tumors throughout my body, including my thyroid and lungs, my vestibular problems. I can't service connect this. We all know that worked up there, that this will be our cause of death. And we don't feel sorry for ourselves. One, I've had a great life, and number two, that was about the coolest assignment you could ever possibly be associated with when you're 18 years old and you sit in the cockpit of a stealth fighter and some pilot's standing there telling you, yeah, it really does fly. It was awesome. But what I learned when I started this process was how the VA was so disconnected from the Department of Defense and the hurdles that we have to go through just to make sure that some widow can get her DIC benefits. And we're not talking about making somebody rich. We're just talking about making them not forgotten. Making sure that there's a little help for those who survive us. Making sure that those of us that are surviving can get the care and benefits that we've earned, that we were promised when we went in. We're not asking, you made the point, doctor, about not being special. For us, it's about being equal. And again, Congressman Takano, our appreciation for what you have done is immeasurable. We appreciate being here. Your comment about somehow tying everything together is a necessity, and I thank you for that. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. I struggle telling our story, but we are a proud group of veterans who did great work, and we're thankful, and I'm very thankful to be here today, sir.
It's mine and ours, and you and your colleagues, comrades are an inspiration, continue to be. Candace Wheeler.